Hi and welcome to everyone joining us for this pre-recorded show, which is recorded early doors on Monday morning for the meeting on Tuesday, the 20th of February, taking place at the Vaal Classic Racecourse, and just having a look. It's a 9-race program, so plenty of activity. Joining me on the line is Alistair Cohen. Alistair, how's things going? And then tell us a bit about what you think of the card on Tuesday.
Yeah, Sheldon, good to have another week kicking off, another Grade 1 week kicking off. Obviously, all eyes will be on the Cape Derby on Saturday at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. Looking forward to that. There'll be a nice Pick 6 carryover attached to that meeting with a target of R3 million. It's a standalone Saturday, thankfully, as well. So all the attention will be on that. And then obviously on Sunday at Turfentine, there are a couple of features as well with a Grade 3 national currency sprint. Start of the week, obviously, with no racing on Monday. And on the back of what looked to be a fairly dicey weekend, there was a Pick 6 carryover at Turfentine on Saturday. Some nice action at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Saturday. Some good stuff at Hollywoodbets Scottsville on Sunday as well. So hopefully we can start the week strong. I actually quite like the card. There's a little bit of everything for everybody.
Well, that's what I like to hear, a little bit of confidence, and each and every punter, they have different ways of structuring their bets, and hopefully we can be quite informative. Let's get straight into the first race. Doesn't form part of the exotics. It's over 1,200 meters. And straight off, number 1, Princess Lola is your 16-10 favourite from the Roy Magnus stable. Now, Gavin Larena has been reunited with this daughter of Royal Mo after riding her in her previous 2 runs. Now, looking at Princess Lola, then you've got number 2, Empress of Normandy, the market danger at 33-10. And then the first timer, number 9 from the Lucky Hoodalakis stable, is at 9-2. Alistair, number 1, Princess Lola, a career best last time out, and the fact that Gavin Larena jumps back aboard could speak volumes?
Yeah, Sheldon, it's not a very inspiring start to the card. I think the first point of interest that I need to draw to punters' attention is that Lucky Hoodalakis has 3 runners in the race. 2 of them are first-timers, yet stable jockey Craig Zaki rides number 2, Empress of Normandy, who has not got an ideal draw. So I'd venture to say that that's the right one for the yard. There's obviously no real activity in the market at the time of recording for 9 and 11, although number 11, Central Kiss, is related to Stake and Base and a few other well-performed horses. One of them trained by Lucky Hoodalakis. But in the cold light today, I think everything's going for number 1, Princess Lola. I think she'd be a deserving winner. She's obviously come into some pretty weak races along the way and been unable to get the job done. But I think this is the right landing spot with the fact that her main danger is drawn a little bit deep. So I think that it's just going to be her day this time around. So I expect number 1, Princess Lola, to get her fans and her supporters off to a good start.
Right, let's move straight on to race number 2, which will be the opening leg of the bar pot. And when you look at the bar pot, race number 2, the current favourite, number 4, East Coast. And I was quite surprised to see this horse open up at 5-2, and the punters have latched on down 15-10. Number 5, Hawkbill, is at 5-2, and then number 1, Viva Spirit, at 7-2. Now, Alistair, when you look at the best weighted column, number 4, East Coast, sticks out like a sore thumb. And all you have to do is go back and look at the runs behind Union Square, Charles Dickens, see it again. He's running the Daily News, the Summer Cup, and all the big races around. In this type of field, do you expect him to get the job done and be in the winner's box?
Sheldon, he should. I think he deserves his place at the top of the board. I think that he's a bar pot banker. His main danger is number 5, Hawkbill. Remember, East Coast as a 3-year-old went oh so close in the Victory Moon, the Betway Victory Moon, and then 12 months later still ran a nice race in the Victory Moon from a deep draw, finishing 2.5 lengths behind Atticus Finch. He's got a lot going his way. The biggest alarm bell that rings is that Mike de Kock's got 4 runners carded. I don't expect that he'll run with all 4 in this race, so I think that he's probably kept this race alive, basically, for East Coast and Ryan Munger. Draw 1's obviously there as well. So I don't see too much in the way of number 4, East Coast. And if he just brings 90% of ability with his 58.5 that he's shouldering, therefore giving Hawkbill 1.5 kilos when he should be giving him 5 kilos, it's very hard to look past number 4, East Coast. I do believe there's something about Hawkbill. I do think that he's got a fair amount of ability. It wouldn't surprise me to see him in the Derby if he proves that he can go close to East Coast in a race of this magnitude. Hawkbull hasn't won for a while, hasn't won since his 2-year-old days when he beat Hotter Ruby, but Hotter Ruby has emerged as a horse that's not miles behind the best 3-year-olds on the Highveld. But I think if you went to Fabian Habib, and I'm saying Fabian Habib because East Coast ran behind a Habib runner and Hawkbull ran behind a Habib runner, and asked which one was more impressive last time, I think you'd say Zeus over 2,400 meters is probably his best in the yard. When he sees Zeus over 2.4, it's pretty much close to pay. And I think that if East Coast can get to within 5.5 lengths of Zeus, never mind the weight that he was receiving on that occasion, I think that you would look at that form in a better light than Hawkbull running 3.25 lengths to You Can't Hurry Love after going off to the front.
There we go. That's a look at race number 2. Number 4, East Coast, was once upon a time a 1-1-2, and that was running behind the likes of Charles Dickens and See It Again, and then Hawkbull's run behind Sandringham Summit, Jerusalem Rain, and he was a 1:03 at a stage. So 4 from the 5 in race number 2. We now move on to the opening leg of the place accumulator, and this is Alistair's suggested bet for the day. And just taking a look at the betting for race number 3, the Candace Dawson trained Great Barrier, the filly taking on the boys, is your 13-10 favourite. And you managed to secure Gavin Larena once again here. So Gavin Larena is looking to do the business on this daughter of Rafif. Now all we have to do is go back to that debut run behind Lucky Lad, who's come through to win the Grade 1 gold medallion, the Grade 2 and also a Grade 3. Tell us how Great Barrier is doing, but I see you've also included number 10, Blue Courts, the other filly.
Yeah, Great Barrier has been very frustrating, Sheldon. The wide draw is not Candace's style, but the field does lend itself to suggesting that this is the right type of race for number 9, Great Barrier. Her last run wasn't all that disappointing. In fact, Gavin got off and said, I want this filly back at the Vaal. So he was very quick to suggest and point the yard into the direction of going back to the Vaal, because at Turf and Saint she just seems to be a bit above herself. And when Gavin rode her in March, I know that's a long time ago, at the Vaal, she was nice and composed and all that. She's had a couple of issues along the way as number 9 Great Barrier, hence she was off for quite a while between March and November. She's also developed a bit of a habit of pulling, which does put pay to her chance. But Gavin thinks at the Vaal with a long straight and with a pace to aim at over slightly shorter than the 1400, especially of her penultimate start, that she'll be able to get into a better rhythm. And if she gets into a good rhythm, she'll be very, very hard to beat, especially in a race of this nature. But I'm just a little bit gun-shy in that she let the team down at 5-10 at her penultimate start when she looked a bit of an aimer. So I've backed out with number 10, Blue Courts, who comes out of what could be a weak form line behind Dal Solo. Dal Solo took a while to win. She found some pretty ordinary maidens along the way, but finally got her day in the sun last time out. But at least Blue Courts has got some scope to improve, and she's got a reasonable draw. So she'll be wiser this time around. And I think if number 9 Great Barrier gets beaten, number 10 Blue Courts could be the one to do the job. The horse that bears watching most, she's a runner at the time of recording, is Trombatista. She ran no sort of race on Saturday at Turfentine. So just 3 days later, she comes in. However, there was a ton of money for Trombatista on Saturday. I mean, I couldn't believe there was support for her, or for him rather, but there was. So if he does back up just a few days later, just maybe keep him in the back of your mind.
That'll catapult us into the opening leg of the Pick 6, which is race number 4. This is over the trip of 2,000 meters, due off at 14:15. The current favourite is the Candace Dawson train number 2, Karoo Gold. So we'll get your input on how this Son of Ideal World's doing after the run last time went 5th to Argus Sanction after being fitted with the blinkers. Gavin Larena once again will be riding for Candace Dawson, and you've also included number 1, which is the second favourite. So tell us a bit about Karoo Gold. Decided to put the blinkers on last time over the 1800, and that form line looks quite solid. Alistair?
It does, Sheldon. It looks a solid piece of form indeed. All Gavin really needs to do is just get him into a rhythm as well, because he can tend to over-race. He's also been slightly disappointing, although this probably looks like the right type of place for him. There's a line of form with Master Christmas and Utter Rime, where Karoo Gold has finished alongside Master Christmas. That was on the 26th of October. And then Master Christmas has proven himself to be 5 lengths better than Utter Rime. So if Karoo Gold can run the same type of race he did on the 26th of October, and the pure sums of it all, of indirect form lines, and Karoo should have the measure of Atarime. But with that said, I think Atarime is getting to hand. The penultimate start to Lamu Hull really strikes a chord with me, because Lamu Hull has improved out of sight. He's carded to run in race number 2 on the card, and he looks like a nice developing 3-year-old in the making. To what level he gets, I don't know, but if Atarime can run ahead to Lamu Hull, then he's got to have good claims here of turning over number 2, Karoo Gold. I don't think there'll be too much in it, just a little bit of a heads up out of Karoo Gold's last run, which actually is a better run with what I'm going to tell you. The day before his race, he actually got loose and ran back to the stables, and that never really works out. They tend to run flat, and it looked like Karoo Gold didn't actually run all that flat, finishing 2 1/4 lengths behind Eiger Sanction. So that run probably isn't all that bad. I'd like to believe that he's got a good, strong winning chance in this race, but I am wary of number 1, Atarime. I'll be disappointed if we don't survive that leg of the PA. I'll be disappointed if we don't double up, to be fair.
Well, there you heard from Alistair, looking to be doubling up in that event. That'll shoot us on to race number 5, and the 5th race, 2,000 meters, is the distance where they'll be doing battle. They are betting 7-2 the field at the early time of recording. Number 1, Ipso Facto, is 7-2. Damastar, number 6, is 4-1, and then number 11, Rosie Lemon, at 11-2. Alistair, looking at race number 5, you can make a case for quite a number of horses on their recent form. They've been in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th box, so the number of horses who bring some consistent place form recently.
Spot on, Sheldon. I'm very uneasy about this race. I think there are a lot in here with chances, difficult to rule anyone out. So in the pick 6 and jackpots, you might want to be going to town with your numbers here. I've gone with numbers 6 and 8 in my place accumulated. Damo Star, I think, has got a chance here. Penultimate start, I think she needed over 2,000 meters when she put up no performance behind Spring in Heaven. There were some progressive horses in front of her, so I think there are any amounts of excuses for the penultimate run. And last time she gave weight to a very smart 3-year-old filly in the making in the form of Beating Wings, who, to be fair, had that race at her mercy on paper, and she delivered in no uncertain terms, and Damo Star led the rest home. Before her break, she was in good form, so you could probably make the argument that maybe the handicapper has the grips of this daughter of Flower Alley, who is a full sister to Feather Boa for what it's worth. But I think that she's consistent enough and on the right track to make a good case for her running into the first 3. Winning, I don't know, but first 3, I think, definite claims. And I've backed up with number 8, Special Charm, Sheldon. She ran in the Spook Express last time, which is a non-blacked up feature from a horrible draw, and she didn't run badly at all behind Explosive Bond. She's got draw 1, and she's come down a pound in the weights and the ratings. She does seem to be best at the Vaal. 3 starts at the Vaal for 2 wins and a second. She's well performed, this daughter of Elusive Ford. She stepped up nicely during the, sort of 12 months ago, where she went on a nice little streak of form and won a few races. So I think that she'll run a nice race, number 8, Special Charm. There's a lot in her favour. Paul Natchett does hold a strong hand here. He's got number 1, Ipso Facto. When you look at jockey arrangements, Gavin Lorena is retained by the Verners family, so don't think that there's any preference there in terms of Ipso Facto. Well, that's got Gavin, and Special Charm's got Pila Sunday. Obviously, Pila Sunday is the stable jockey, but Gavin retained by the Werners family, so that explains that. And even the stable companion number 9, Iron Regal, has pushed a few good horses all the way down to the line in the past, although I have serious doubts about her over 2,000 meters. So 6 and 8 for me, but for me, this is the race that I'm most uneasy about on the card. For punters out there, if there's anything else that you want to include, don't be afraid to put them into your play. Go as wide as you can in the races where you need, in the exotics where you need to win the pick 6 and the jackpot.
Next up will be race number 6 over 2,000 meters. It's a 73 divided handicap for the fillies and mares. Another open-looking contest. You've gone with numbers 2, 4, and 10 in your place accumulator. And a horse like number 3, Pretty in Pearls, she's got some decent form. Number 4, Avon Toast, I can see why you included her. Disappointing of late, but looking to bounce back to a better form. But kick it off with number 2, Regal Daughter, because Candace Dawson, you know the stable exceptionally well. You know the word on the ground. Straight out the maidens, never easy first call, but she looks to have a very strong hand on the day.
Yeah, it was a workmanlike maiden win, Sheldon. I have to be honest, 18 to 10, very, very bullish that she'd win. It didn't look like there was much form in behind her. However, that form has worked out an absolute charm. Caddy Zora, another winner out of that form, so it's 2 from 6 direct winners, but then Caddy Zora made it a 3rd winner out of that form line. So despite being a little bit underwhelmed with the manner of her win, the horses in behind have come to do justice. Patches of Grey and DeMarco's Jet have come out and won from that piece of form, so it does add a little bit of hope. She threw it. That was the race that was delayed due to a storm, and she went down to the start, and she had to go back, and on the way back down to the start, she put up an awful performance. She wanted to back out of it, and she bucked, and she gave Chase Morjan a very hard time. So she's progressive. She's up to an 81, so this is the right type of race to test her, see if potentially the Ormond Ferraris Oaks trials a stopping point from there, or whether they'll keep her in handicaps going forward just to build the confidence, but this will tell us a lot. So she's a player, but a little secret is that Chase Morjan's chosen to ride number 4, Avo on Toast. So maybe Chase knows something with his daughter of Twice Over, who is a half-sister to Grade 1 winner Red Saxon. Avo on Toast rating has come down from a once 86 down to a 70. Same equipment that she had last time. I'm not convinced she stayed 2,400 meters at her last few starts, although she didn't run badly. She probably just doesn't get home over that trip, so she probably more at home over this distance. Same as Yard, very, very quiet in 2023, but another winner on Saturday with Royal Mazarin. So I think number 4, Avo on Toast, is going to be in the right place to put up a better performance this time around over a more suitable distance. And then number 10, Be Real, has got a bit of a dicey draw, but I like the last run to a place in the sun. That came in a classified race, so she's probably at the same type of level running against her own sex. I don't think she's got her legs tied up. Marco van Rensburg does ride very well for Heather Adamson, so number 10, Be Real, big strapping daughter of Alado. She's tough to look at because she's so big and long and gangly, but she can also have a good day. She's quite quirky as number 10, Be Real, so if she behaves on the way down to the start and the preliminaries, then I think you know that a good run's going to be in the pipeline. If she puts up a performance and she tries to throw Marco van Rensburg off and does all sorts of funny things, then maybe look elsewhere.
Right, race number 7 as we click along, and you've decided to go with the banker on the card in the form of number 2. And once again, that man, Gavin Larena, we're going to be watching him throughout the afternoon. So hopefully Gavin Larena is going to have a red letter day when it comes to the race meeting. And you've bankered the son of Karori in your place accumulator, Alistair.
Sheldon, bear in mind it's a novice handicap, so all these one-time winners are weighted accordingly as opposed to the old traditional novice plates. Short and sweet, San Simon, if he does stay 1450, I suppose that's still a question mark after his last run to Prince of Green, but that was at a much higher level. That was at an MR100, now down to a novice handicap, which you could equate to being, what would this be, an MR81 with a weight for age allowance at Ryan's Boulevard. So if you subtract 8 being the 4 kilos, then this is basically an MR81. San Simon is so down in class, it's frightening. He's got draw 1. Everything's in his favour. I'll be surprised if he got beaten in a race of this caliber, Sheldon. I think that he's a banker on all bets, and the fact that he's going 1450, I think this will be more of a team effort. Johan doesn't guess. He would have relied on Gavin's feedback. San Simon, hard horse to beat. Thankfully, he comes up at this stage of the card, so we can go last in this race. I really like him.
Right, 2 races left to negotiate, races 8 and 9. So for the players looking for the last double on the card, races 8 and 9 is the way to go. Looking at your numbers here, 1, 2, 6 and 8, and just looking at my computer form, the ink's starting to dry up here, so I can't give you any confidence when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of race number 8, and you suggesting 4 runners in your place accumulator, so I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, this is very tricky, although as opposed to race, which race was it? Race number 5 that looked wide open where I suggested going field in the pick 6 and jackpot. I think you can put a line through a handful of these horses. So with the 4 horses that I've got in, number 1, Celtic Room is returning from a break. She has to give weight away. She hasn't got an ideal draw. If you watch the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage again, nothing on the outside featured. Unzen came out and won what was pretty much the equivalent of a Hawaii Stakes field a couple of weeks ago at Turfentine, beating Dave the King, beating Cousin Casey, beating Safe Passage, who sadly ran no sort of race in the London News on Saturday. But Celtic Room has got good claims if she's ready and raring to go. Number 2, in the beginning, fresh off a win, she has to be respected. She probably just has the measure over Vix Princess, who she reopposes, but wherever one runs, the other should be right there. Vix Princess, definitely a horse to consider. She's on a hot run of form. She's on the back of a slight penalty for being a loser last time out, but she does look progressive. And then number 6, Lady Fallon. There was a lot of talk for her last time out, but she returned a miss and short after that run. But the fact that she's back 17 days later suggests that she's recovered pretty quickly. She's got draw 1, which is a big advantage. The good news is her run in the Mother Russia Stakes, where she ran 4 1/4 lengths to Let's Go, now therefore running well above her rating. The bad news is that the horse that finished just in front of her, Mia Moo, ran on Saturday, and she put up no sort of effort. So I'm scratching my head with number 6, Lady Fallon. I've included her more out of reputation and expectation rather than my analysis of the race. So I've gone in with 4 horses, 1, 2, 6, and 8. Maybe an alternative here could be number 5, Good Queen Bess. I nearly had her in the play. And I think number 9, Quantum, is going to run a better race than what she did last time. She was in the middle stakes. I couldn't quite understand why she opened up at 3 to 1. I even said on the show to Raheel, I said, well, that's a bit too skinny for me. Obviously, in the middle stakes, fillies do get a very valuable sex allowance. But I think here, with 52 kilos and 52 and a half on her back against her own sex, she could sneak into the top 3 as well. Number 9, Quantum, I very nearly put her in. So I've gone with a few horses here, but I do think that half the field can suffice as winning chances.
Then we're on to the 9th and final race, 1,450 metres, 17:05 is the carded off time. Now, the Hollywood betting has number 2, Mighty Goddess, 5 to 2. Number 4, Andy's Girl, 28 to 10. And then number 5, Alicia's Love at 3 to 1. So they're very congested at the top of the boards. Let's start off with number 2, Mighty Goddess, who's returned to her best form. And she'll be looking to go in again, raised up to a 74. What do you think of Mighty Goddess's chances of going in again?
Be with me, Sheldon. She won easier than the margin suggested 17 days earlier. That was the final race on the card on Guinea's Day and Wilkebos Fillies Guinea's Day. She won by 2.5 lengths at the 400 metres mark. It was a matter of how far. Musi didn't have to do a whole lot of work on her. £6 penalty, I think, could be a little bit lenient. The draw's obviously not ideal, so she'll need a little bit of luck on the crown of the turn. She'll need a bit of a pace to aim at, but she looks like she can go forward now. They've really got to the bottom of her since Blinkers went on to the Daughter Flying the Flag. She looks like she's still getting to grips, and I'd like to believe that she's got another win in the tank. If she does come unstuck, guess who my backup is? Gavin Larina's right. Number 5, Alicia's Love. Out of a good draw, out of draw 1, this daughter of Vercingetrix, well bred, good old Clifton family. Her last run to My Lady's Soul came in slightly, came in similar company than what she meets today. I'm glad that Gavin's back on board. 55.5. That takes a lot of effort from Gavin, so bear that in mind. That could be a bit of a sign that Gavin's optimistic of a good run for number 5, Alicia's Love. So for me, she is the justified backup. The horse that I'm most interested in is how the Cape form and how quickly Andy's Girl is going to get back to altitude and put up a performance. I thought that her win in the maiden over Lickety Split was good, although in a weak race, she did okay in her last 2 runs in Cape Town. I'm just purely out of interest sake, I'm interested to see how she's going to go. I don't think she'll be all that far away, but for me, when would she have travelled? She probably would have travelled after Met Day, so just summing it up, 3 weeks after travelling back, the Aussies, maybe she just travelled very, very well and she's ready to take another run. So I'm thinking, maybe overthinking a little bit with number 4, Andy's Girl.
Well, on a lighter note, I was going to say, I hope Gavin Larina has a good breakfast, but obviously, as you mentioned, with the 55.5 kilograms, it doesn't look like he's going to be having that breakfast that we would like him to have to see him throughout the afternoon. So getting down to the 55.5, you could be spot on with number 5, Alicia's Love. And now, Alistair, we're going to bring up your suggested bet for the day, which is the place accumulator. So if you wouldn't mind going through the place accumulator, and as you know, Gavin Larina is the rider that we've got in most of our perms and most of the horses that we picked out. So let's hope that he's at his A game, which he always is, and he brings home the horses.
And I like your pun that you used on a lighter note, talking about Gavin's weight. That was naughty. Just bear in mind that it's a 9-race card at the Vaal, so the PA starts on the 3rd race at 13:40, so you've got a bit of time to get your exotics together. 9 and 10 in the first leg, Great Barrier and Blue Courts by 1 and 2, Atarima and Karoo Gold. Then race 5, which is leg 3, I've got number 6 and 8, Damo Star and Special Charm. Anything can win that race, but I'm happy with the numbers I've got. I think we'll make ground in the PA there if we survive. Then leg 4, 4, which is race 6, 2 Regal Daughter, 4 Avo, 1 Toast, and 10 Be Real. Then banker number 2, San Simon. That is my big play on the day. Penultimate leg 1, 2, 6, and 8 Celtic Rumors in the beginning. Lady Fallon, Vix Princess, and final leg 2 and 5, Mighty Goddess and Elysia's Love. It's quite a big perm, but I do think we'll double up, hopefully treble up somewhere along the way, and I think the PA is going to be worth a little bit of money at the end. I can't see it paying 10 Rand.
Thanks very much, Alistair. Always a pleasure getting your input for the meeting, and hopefully you have a wonderful week, and hopefully on Tuesday the horses do it for us on the racecourse.
Yep, thanks, Sheldon. Always a pleasure. Great to catch up, and we'll do it again soon, I'm sure.
100%. Thanks very much to Alistair Cohen guiding us through the card for the Tuesday meeting, the 20th of February at the Vaal Classic track. And all I've got left to say is best of luck. And as you, as the viewer, the punter, let's hope that your selections and your horses get you the money.